The question is, has Rory McIlroy been cheating? Well, I'm going to let you answer that yourselves. We're going to go over the information and we just, you decide. Comment below. I like Rory. He's fun to watch. Great driver of the golf ball, and that's what is in question today. He had a pretty poor performance at the PGA Championship, and the culprit really to his game was his driving. Okay, so here's what happened. Every so often, they do these random testing of equipment to determine if clubs are conforming or non-conforming. So, many reports are that Rory's driver that he was using came back from the testing this week on Tuesday and was deemed non-conforming. And that's a lot of people reporting on this. Golf.com, GolfWRX, a lot of places. So, Rory then, and this happens, right? You get tested, and then you just replace the head because there's many factors, and we'll go over these things that could deem a driver non-conforming. So his non-conforming, you swap out the head, it's not a big deal. He's using the QI10 and from TaylorMade, and you swap out the head, you go about your business, no big deal. Well, apparently it was a big deal because one, his driving was very, very questionable, suspect after the switch out. Why is that? That's what everybody's asking. And why really did Rory avoid the media every day after his round of golf? He did not speak to the media Thursday through Sunday. Wouldn't talk. Why would he not talk? Did he not want to answer the question, hey, was that the driver that was in play for the Masters? Because the answer would have been yes. It most likely was the driver in play. To me, is there a black cloud over his Masters win, even if his driver's non-conforming? Well, typically, no. Whatever, you don't know when it became non-conforming. You know it's just currently non-conforming. And according to the reports, that's not something that is, that doesn't have, it's not common, but it's not uncommon. Like this kind of stuff happens. There are many reasons why a driver could become non-conforming through the testing. One of the things that could happen is because you hit it so much that you could get a microscopic fracture in the face. You could get a crack in it. And then when they tested, they could see that, oh, there's a crack in it. It's broken, basically. It's non-conforming. And you swap it out. And it wouldn't make a difference because you would just get the exact same head in there. Big deal. And then you go about your business. This happens probably the most frequent thing in the testing is that there's a tiny fracture in it. But Rory's driving changed dramatically. And therefore, we have to ask ourselves, okay, was that what was wrong? Or what was wrong would be the other question that you might potentially want to avoid. So we don't know what was wrong with Rory's driver. He uses the Ventus shaft at 45 inches. So it wasn't too long. Like you could have too long, but then you know if it's too long or not. So that wouldn't have been it. And so here are the things that can make a driver, besides the crack or the length, non-conforming. Let's just go through this. So one of the things is it exceeds that trampoline effect, right? The face gets too thin. And that could happen over a period of time where you're hitting tons and tons of shots, but not typically with the carbon face that the QI10 has. It has a carbon face. That is not going to be subject to thinning out. Like as you hit a piece of titanium over and over and over, it could thin out. Thus, the face becomes too thin. It gets more bend in it, more trampoline effect. That's not going to happen with 60 layers of a carbon face. Okay, so that's not it. Unless, of course, one of the questions is the carbon face you're using less than 60 layers of carbon? Which would mean that it's non-conforming on purpose? We don't know. But the only way to make a carbon face thinner is to do it intentionally. And it's kind of like, hey, if you deflate the football for better grip, you know, if you're the quarterback, if it's deflated or not. So is that this situation? We don't know. Rory didn't answer any questions, and we don't necessarily know what was non-conforming about his driver. So we can assume that if the driver face is not, or the head is not too large, 460cc is a limit. That's probably not it, right? It could be, but probably not. Another thing is that the width of the club, so the size of the club head is probably not the problem here. And then one of the things that we don't know is markings on the club face could make it also unconforming, non-conforming. For example, you might do something to take spin off the golf ball, like put something on the face or scuff it up or not scuff it or do something to make the face different than what it was originally made. Like, for example, the pitcher would bring a sandpaper and scuff the ball up so it spins more. So you're not going to have more scuff on the face. But there are things you can do to the face that could affect the flight of the golf ball. You could make grooves on it that are too deep, or that would affect the impact of the ball. So that could have been something. Another thing is foreign material on the club face, coating, adhesive, substances. So that would affect spin, or like the Vaseline kind of deal that supposedly takes spin off. Was there a foreign substance on his club face? That's something, if you're about to turn in your club head, you might rub off beforehand, and it's easy to put back on. Or it's more than just your club head is non-conforming. If you rub Vaseline on it, you give me a new club face, I could just rub Vaseline. So I don't necessarily think that was it either, unless there was some permanent something or other on the club face and he got caught for it. We don't know. Again, he didn't answer any questions. So you tell me, is he cheating? A non-conforming shaft would be easy to spot out. He uses Aventus Black. So I don't think that was the case. Grip, that would have been easy to spot. We don't suspect any of that. And then the rest are just wear performances or non-conforming prototypes, but we don't think that's it either. So typically, you don't hold a player liable for something they don't know about. And most of the time with this situation, it's something the player doesn't know about. It's just a imperfection or something happened to the club face during normal usage. They swap it out. Nobody would even know. But Rory's driving was so different this week than it had been that it raises a lot of questions for a lot of people that they kind of want answers to, like, what was wrong with the driver? Was that driver the same driver you won the Masters with? What was wrong? Now, if this is just nothing and it's not a big deal, and Rory's just like, I'm focused on the tournament, I don't really care about this, it's a non-issue, and I don't want to answer those questions, I get that too. I can give someone a pass on that. Maybe you're just not playing well and you don't want any of that negativity affecting you, so you're just going to avoid everybody all week. I get that. It's been a wild ride after winning the Masters, completing the Grand Slam, that maybe you just need a lot of peace and quiet going into the next major championship. I get that too. I'll give him a pass on everything. But we're going to need some answers here regarding this driver issue, I would assume. It could be nothing, but it could be a lot more than nothing all at the same time. What do you guys think it is? Is it something to worry ourselves about or not? Let's not take... So I always try to leave my personal feelings towards any player at the foot of the bed. Like, it doesn't matter. I like Rory. He does a lot of things that are maybe I'm not a fan of, but I like watching him play. I don't have any real issue. He's talked a lot of trash about Liv, and Liv has deserve some trash talking here and there and not in other places. So I'm kind of like, let's just take it as things are deserving and move on. So I've tried to leave all my emotional feelings for anything away and just talk about the facts here, which I hope we're doing. Is this a big issue? Has he been, corking the bat, as they say? Or is this just an innocent, no big deal situation? You tell me. It's interesting, though. I love stuff like this. Good luck to you guys. See you soon.